A very good afternoon to you from what is a Manchester day that can't actually make its mind up. Bit of rain, bit of sunshine, bit of clouds. As it's autumn here in Manchester, that's how it is. I know that the title of this video was a little bit shocking or stark or whatever it is, but let me explain. We're all aware that at the moment we're all going through this COVID-19 nonsense. Now, I call it nonsense because I am one of those who believes that it's not actually as bad as it's being painted. All the evidence seems to suggest that the cases and death rates are nowhere near as big or as disastrous as people seem to think, who actually give the figures out to cause these lockdowns that we're going through here in Britain right now. Now, that's not to say that COVID-19 doesn't exist. Of course it does, as does the other 18 that came before. But what I'm saying is that COVID-19 is causing cases which can be asymptomatic. So nobody will actually be ill, they're not actually coughing, sneezing whatsoever. And also, if you look at the actual figures that when they have put the graphs up, all the graphs that they put up, which they're causing, in fact, in my opinion, the death of the country, are all scenarios. They're not actualities. If you look along the bottom and read the very, very small print, you will see the actualities, not what they think might happen. But anyway, let's go back to the title. If you thought that I was going to be cruel and heartless by saying what I said in the title, what it's actually about is, as you're probably aware, a lot of my old guard will know that I disappeared for weekends and things like that to go down and see my mum, who lived in the beautiful county of Oxfordshire. And my mum, for a long time, 7 or 8 years before her death, suffered from a particular form of dementia called Lewy body dementia, which is what people don't understand about dementia, is that it's not just loss of memories, it's not just loss of self, that you don't know who you are or members of your family, but it's loss of everything. Once it's taken all the stuff away that's important to you, it starts taking away things like muscle memory, that kind of thing, where you forget how to swallow. You kind of forget how to breathe as you should. You forget how to move in bed, so you end up with massive bed sores and atrophying muscles and all that kind of thing. So it's not just a mental thing. But that's not the point of the title either. So what is the point? Well, the point is that the way things are at the moment, and you may, as I do, hear stories all the time. I heard one the other day of an elderly gentleman, 85 years old, who lives alone. He looks after himself, does all the cooking, cleaning, washing, ironing, all that kind of thing, because his wife of 58 years is in a care home suffering from dementia. And he is not allowed to go and see the love of his life. And in what scenario of a civilized society is that right? Because in the real world, his wife of 58 years is seeing carers and the administration staff of the care home more often than she is seeing the love of her life. And the problem is that I've just said is that what will be happening to her, she, in all of this, will be remembering less and less of him, her husband, who used to come in and ensure that her hair was okay and her glasses were clean and her nails were clipped and her skin was moisturized and all the things that a husband can do for the person that they love. Now, she's just seeing the people in the home. And how is that justified? The man was completely bereft by this. So the title of the video is exactly that, is that given the current state of Britain, I am pleased that my mum is not around any longer, because just like this scenario I've just told you with the elderly gentleman here in Britain, I would have been in exactly the same place. When I used to go down to see my mum, there was very little recognition that she actually knew me, but I was able to spend 2 or 3 hours with her, chatting to her, showing photographs of past holidays and things like that, put music on that I knew she loved, and that little bit of interaction, although it wasn't like you and I speaking or you and a family member speaking, it was enough to actually make me feel better. And I can only imagine the turmoil that this elderly gentleman is now going through. Now, it is my opinion that what is going on at the moment is, and I will be prepared to be accused of wearing a tinfoil hat here, is that the lockdowns and the restrictions that are being put on us as a population, both sides of the pond, are down to one thing: inaccuracies. They are not accurate reflections of what is happening in the world. In wintertime, the death toll is massive of the elderly population with flu every year. And now flu is being counted as part of the COVID-19 deaths. How can that be classed as genuine? How are we, the population, supposed to have any form of trust whatsoever in the government of the day? A government which keeps closing the country down. A government which doesn't seem to care about the well-being of its population. Not only financial well-being by earning salaries at jobs, because the jobs are being closed down as well. Companies which maybe had 2 or 3 employees are now having to close their doors completely. They will never reopen their doors after Thursday this week, I believe. And how is that right? How is it right that a government doesn't seem to have any care whatsoever regarding the rising suicide rates in the country because of the COVID-19 situation? That the government of the day doesn't seem to care about the mental health of people, existing patients who have any form of depression, and all the new cases that will be diagnosed. And the problem is the diagnosis may come late because you can't get to see a doctor. And because you can't get to see a doctor, you can't get a referral to mental health services. So yes, I am pleased, nay delighted, that my mum is not here anymore to be a victim of what our government are doing to us, the British people, right now. And the British people are being frightened into a stage where they feel they need to be compliant. The normal socializations of polite society has been taken away. Everybody's wearing a mask. You know, the days were before this that you couldn't go into a bank or a building society or a petrol station with a crash helmet on, for instance. But now, it's perfectly okay to half cover your face. Communication between people is all about seeing your eyes and seeing the expression on your face to know whether people are sincere or happy or sad. We are not getting that anymore. And how long will this go on for? How long can a myth, which I believe COVID-19 to be, how long can that be woven for? Now, when I say a myth, I don't mean it doesn't exist. I mean that it isn't as dangerous as they want us to believe. I think what will happen in the future, hopefully the relatively near future, is that certainly in Britain, Boris Johnson will have to do a massive U-turn and say that, you know, there is not going to be a vaccine, because we have now come to the conclusion that just like flu, COVID-19 will mutate every single year. So if we have a vaccine now for the current unmutated version, we'll have to have another one every single year, as we have to have a different flu vaccine every single year. And we will just have to learn to live with COVID-19. So although it may have seemed harsh to have the title of this video, it isn't. And I feel dreadfully sorry for anyone who has a mother, father, wife, husband, auntie, uncle, who they're close to, who are in a care home, who they can't get to see because of decisions that that are being made for us by governments, that in the cold light of day they forget they work for us, and they're disagreeing or totally ignoring the views of the population that this is not what we want. We can't join groups of over 6 people. We can't go to pubs anymore. Small pubs and bars will go out of business because this November and December time are their survival months, because it's coming up to Christmas, the big celebrations. So what exactly is going to be there to celebrate this year? But I will leave that with you. I'm not being harsh, I'm not being hateful with the title of this video. I'm being genuine that although sad that Mum isn't here anymore, I am glad that she isn't here anymore. So thanks for watching. Let me know what your kind of feelings are regarding what is going on right now. It is so distasteful for a first world society which is supposed to be free, and we must be able to do what we like without restriction, pretty much. Let me know what you think, what you've experienced, what you are experiencing, whether you've been, I know there's lots of no-fly zones and stuff like that. What have you been anywhere that's worse than what's going on here in Britain? Anyway, that's it for now. Thank you very much for listening. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.